In this video, we discuss how to fix your metabolism.
By myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Revelia from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to go over the specific changes that happen to your metabolism, how to resolve them, and how to make sure that you have a metabolism that's working. So the question came from my Instagram direct message. So if you guys aren't following along, please, first of all, subscribe. I'll make something fancy on here. Then go to my Instagram, and then you can send me a direct message like my friend here did. So the question came in on my Instagram direct message, which was about how to fix the metabolism. And I gotta say, this is a very common issue, especially for those that have gone through a fat loss phase. So I'll put the question up on the screen here for you guys so you can look it over. But the gist of it is basically this. This individual spent a lot of time dieting, lost a lot of weight. Then, after the weight loss, put the weight back on and then some extra, and now kind of feels like the metabolism is messed up because they can't seem to eat without gaining weight. So I want to discuss exactly why that is and how we go about resolving it. And first things first, let's clear this up. The metabolism is definitely not broken. No, the metabolism is working just fine. It's doing its job. It's adapting. So what we need to do is adapt the metabolism back into our favor. Okay, and I'm gonna give you guys some specifics. I got a graph here that's very, very poorly done, but it will just kind of show and explain how the metabolism adapts over time. So the issue with most people thinking that their metabolisms are not working is because they feel like, why am I not able to eat as much food as I used to without gaining weight? Well, I'm going to explain why. Our metabolic rate is something that adapts to whatever we put it through. So if you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, if food was not available and our metabolism stayed at the same speed as when it was highly available, well, survival would not be as high. So what happens is our bodies are very smart, way smarter than us, and they do not care how lean and shredded we look, right? Our body and our brain is concerned with survival. So when calories get low, the body adapts and changes some processes around to make sure that we can function on less calories. This is called metabolic adaptation, and it's completely normal. The metabolic rate suppresses itself intentionally, so it's a good thing. It's actually a sign that your metabolism is working, although it's not working in your favor if you start overeating. So here's what happens with the process. We start a diet with a body fat level here, our metabolic rate here, and our calories here. Well, what happens is as we reduce calories, the body fat rate starts to drop and the metabolic rate starts coming right down with it, right? We keep adjusting our calories every time we hit a plateau. Well, why do we hit plateaus? Well, it's because our metabolic rate has adapted. We've actually adapted to that calorie intake. So where you're at now with calories and cardio and all that stuff is now your new maintenance. So when people say, oh, well, I just went back to eating my maintenance calories, there's no such thing as a static maintenance number. It's a dynamic number, okay? So your calories that were once your maintenance calories are no longer your maintenance if you've adapted your metabolism. So don't use the term maintenance unless you understand that it's a dynamic number. It's constantly changing. Well, over the course of getting to your goal, and let's say you're a competitor and you lose a lot of weight, you get to that goal weight. Well, you've got a severe metabolic suppression going on. You're also keeping up with a lot of cardio and you've lost lean body mass. All these things are going to create an environment where what is going to happen? Rapid body fat storage if we overeat. Now, does that mean our metabolic rate or our metabolism is broken? No, it's still working perfectly fine. There is no such thing as metabolic damage. The term metabolic damage refers to a place where it becomes very difficult for things to happen, but the metabolism is not damaged. It's just severely adapted, okay? So now here's what we got to do. We got to get you back. But why? Why do we find that if we overeat, we put on body fat very quickly, but our metabolic rate doesn't return right away? Well, in my experience, it takes the metabolism and our hormones and our overall metabolic processes that are going on about the same amount of time to return to normal as we were in this severe deficit for. Now, sometimes things like diet breaks can help the process, but no matter what, if you are restricting calories over a long amount of time, there is going to be some suppression of the metabolic processes. So to get them back, you have to allow those processes to return. What typically happens is we have a large overfeeding, a big spike in calories. So what does that do? Well, you've got a big spike in calories at a period of time where your body is really good at storing body fat. So you store body fat very quickly. You know, pounds and pounds of body fat in a quick amount of time. But very few people maintain that higher calorie intake. They go back to what they were eating before. So now you've got a bump in body fat without the benefit of seeing much change to the metabolic rate. Now you're restricting again, but you've got this extra body fat, but it's not coming off. Why? Because you're just back to where your maintenance was. For you to get that body fat off, you'd have to go even deeper into a deficit, which probably isn't likely if you've dieted down to really lean body weight, competing, or lost a lot of weight. So what ends up happening is now we just have to accept the fact that that body fat is there to stay. But sometimes that's hard to deal with. So what do? We binge eat again, we overeat again. Now you get a rapid spike in calories, you get a rapid spike in body fat, and then you bring it right back down. So your metabolic rate is not returning. You're just going through this phase of overeating and then going back to your low calories. So you're just spiking body fat over and over, raising your body fat level higher and higher. Meanwhile, your metabolic rate is not adjusting that much. So, all right guys, so I'm gonna show you what I mean here on my graphic chart now. It's still the holidays, so my graphic design department is still on vacation. Just kidding, I don't actually have a graphic design department. So let's just look at this graph here. So if you look at this is the time axis. This is the axis that represents our metabolic rate, our body fat, and our calories. So when the diet starts, we lower our calories, right? Every time we hit a plateau, so our calories get pretty low. Our metabolic rate just starts adapting as we go, but the good news is body fat is dropping along the way. Now when we reach our goal right here, what happens? Well, we have a severe overfeeding, boom, lots of calories. So what happens? Body fat bumps up a nice little bit. Well, we go back to our old calories, but body fat doesn't come back down because this is now our maintenance. Remember what I said, maintenance calories are dynamic. This is now maintenance calories, okay? So when you have a big overfeeding, you store body fat, but it doesn't come back off. So metabolic rate might get a little bump from the overfeeding, but because you went right back to where your calories were low again, the metabolic rate does not adapt. So now what we have is these lines are out of balance. Body fat is really high, metabolic rate has not come up, calories have not come up. So how do we fix this? Well, what we want to do is start gradually raising the calories or just raise them up to an amount that we can deal with on a daily basis where we feel good, but we gotta be consistent with that. You can't keep restricting calories and keeping cardio really high. You need to start tapering up the calories, tapering down the cardio, so we can get that body fat, metabolic rate, calorie lines much more in sync to where they were before they started the diet. Now, for someone that loses a lot of weight, this can take a long time. I have a great case study, a client of mine named Jamie Calais, who started with me at 190 pounds. Yes, she was 190 pounds, and we reversed that. We've been working together for 5 years now. She now maintains her weight at 150 pounds. And she's a tall girl and has a lot of muscle. So she's completely changed her body composition, but it takes time. And a lot of people are in a rush. They want to lose all the weight quickly, but what happens when you gain it all back quickly? Well, you lose a lot of faith. This is where the work is involved. It takes time. So you're not fixing your metabolism. No, you're actually changing your body composition, which takes a lot of time, and it has to be done properly. Okay, when you run into issues like this, what's the best thing to do? Start bringing your calories back up and just accept the fact that you're gonna have to have a little bit of body fat on you so that next time you go through this process, you do it properly. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.